Good morning. Welcome. We're coming to you live with a special edition of The People. There has been major escalations overnight in Israel. Iran has launched cluster bombs into Israel, striking the hospital in Beersheba and the Weizmann Institute of Science. Iran is now clearly targeting civilian populations and infrastructure in Israel. Make no mistake, this is a major escalation. And joining us this morning on the ground in Israel is someone who has been a tireless voice for Israel's truth, its people, and its mission, Hillel Fuld. Hillel has been on the front lines of the information war for years, using his voice, his platform, and his passion to tell the real story of Israel to the world. At a time when lies spread faster than facts, he has been a force for clarity, courage, and conviction. Joins us live from Israel. Hello, Hillel.
It's great to be back. I have to say, it's good for my ego to come on this show, you know?
Excellent.
Understood. Listen, let's jump right in. I know your time is valuable. Give us the latest in terms of the attacks that's going on in Israel, Israel's response, and the use of cluster bombs really changes this, because if Israel had targeted civilians, much like the war in Gaza, you would be castigated. And yet the press is silent about the attacks on the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way I see it, God is revealing himself, I don't think, like ever before since biblical times. And it's not an exaggeration to say, when you have, these cluster bombs and you have, warheads with tons of explosives on them that land in civilian areas that decimate a hospital and there are no casualties. You can say nice coincidence. You can say, I don't know what you want to say. I mean, it's not like the Iron Dome detonated, then they landed. Iran has fired 1,000+ drones into Israel. Zero of them, I'll repeat, zero of them hit a target. Zero. They've targeted Israel with 400+, by now it's probably 500 ballistic missiles. We're talking about 20 to 25 impacts. And we're talking about, sadly, 25 to 30 Israelis killed, which is terrible and it's tragic, and that's 30 worlds. But also, 450 ballistic missiles should not have 30 casualties. It should be 30,000 casualties, and that's me being conservative. So, from my perspective, of course, I have tremendous gratitude and admiration and love for the IDF, for the Iron Dome, for the David Sling, for the Arrow system, for the Israeli Air Force, all of them. But with all due respect to them, God is all over this, and it's unbelievable to see. I feel like I'm in biblical times. I'm in the Bible right now. That's how I feel.
Mm. Agreed. That is one of the things that I have found to be, when we're seeing footage of, hospitals being targeted and blown up, when we're seeing, apartment buildings and things like that, you just have to ask yourself, like, this Israel is targeting military targets. Iran is targeting civilians. There's no confusion. How are we still conflating sides?
It's very simple. It's called the global moral compass is fundamentally broken. And this isn't something new. I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's not like it doesn't anger me every time it happens. It's staggering that right now, if you go to CNN.com, the main story on CNN.com is the damage that Israel caused to the Iranian propaganda TV channel.
Yeah.
Literally. And
wait, do we still have that video, Andy?
Iran attacked an Israeli hospital, decimated a hospital and neighborhoods, killed, yesterday, a little girl with leukemia, killed a 90-year-old grandmother. And CNN is worried about what Israel did to the propaganda TV channel, which is literally a TV channel full of propaganda in Iran. So, I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't anger me and it doesn't boil my blood. Of course it does, but I have to remind myself, and this takes, it's not easy to do, but a few times a day I have to remind myself that none of this makes any sense, and this is clearly not a man-made war, and it's clear that God is here and he's doing his thing. I don't know why he's doing these things. I can't I understand God's ways, but I can know that this is not man-made. None of this makes any sense from beginning to end. And, this war in Iran is no different than the war against Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon and the Houthis in Yemen. It's all the same garbage. They're all radical Islamist maniacs who just want to destroy the West. And Israel's at the forefront protecting the rest of the world. And you would think the rest of the world would thank Israel. And we know the reality. Not only are they not thanking Israel, but they're demonizing Israel and vilifying Israel. And it's pathetic, but it's not a sign of Israel. It's not a reflection on Israel. It's a reflection on the moral bankruptcy of Western civilization.
Yeah. Can you share with our audience just a little bit about what it's like to be there right now with the air raid sirens going on and having to go in and out of the bunker, and like, can you just share a little bit with our viewers like what day to day is like right now, or hour to hour maybe? Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, but I don't think it's what you want to hear.
Oh,
I'll tell you why I'm saying that, because, people, they look at the news, they think Israel's under constant bombardment and Israelis are freaking the heck out and living in, that's not the reality. I go with my kids into the bomb shelter, we play guitar and we chill. That's it. This is life in Israel.
Wow.
The Jewish people are resilient and we know what we need to do. And I have deep gratitude to the Iranian regime for unifying this country. We are deeply, deeply unified like never before. The government that was just yesterday hated by whatever percentage of Israeli society, there is not a single politician that is not siding with Bibi Netanyahu right now. This is miraculous stuff. And not only is the entire Israel behind Netanyahu, but the entire world is behind Netanyahu. 2 weeks ago, if I told you that the world would stand by Israel in a military operation, I would have been like, you're smoking something. What? And here we are. So, it's not fun to be woken up, in the middle of the night with these terrifying noises on my phone that warn me of an imminent ballistic missile attack from Iran. I'm not going to pretend that's fun. But at no point in my household will you see anyone living in fear. We don't live in fear. My kid, just drove to not all the way up north, but to a northern city to hang out with his friends, and we're going swimming tomorrow at my neighbor's house. And we're expecting a siren, and we'll run to the bomb shelter and we'll sit and we'll chill and we'll laugh and we'll joke and we'll eat and we'll sing, and then we'll go back to our life. Whereas Tehran is burning and the regime has its last legs now, and we don't expect them to last more than a couple of days, max a couple of weeks. I mean, the supreme leader, he better have gotten his affairs in order. He better have said goodbye to his loved ones. That's all I'm saying.
Let's see what they did to the state TV. Oh wait, hold on.
That's not state TV.
Why? Hold on. Why is she not talking to me? All right.
It's a great clip. Get that clip up. There you go.
Ben, can you help me out? Can you see what's up?
That was it.
I know. I'm not getting sound for some reason. It's being silly goose.
You want me to imitate her?
Yeah.
Here, I'll do her. You could do the explosions.
So there's no sound, you guys, but she's sitting there talking and she's saying like, oh, and then literally you see the bomb.
Boom.
You see the bomb hit and you see dust flying. For those of you on audio only.
Yeah, oops.
And let's be clear, because this is important. This is an important point. Some people might be watching that and saying, oh my God, Israel's targeting journalists, right? But let's be clear what that TV station is. That TV station, and this is not me saying, this is the majority of the Iranian people saying it. Yeah. That TV station is not a TV station. Those are not journalists. Those are terror supporting, propaganda, lying, regime supporters. That's what they are. And they're using the TV for that, but there's nothing about that TV or that woman that is journalism. And Israel did what it needed to do because it silenced the evil regime on behalf of the Iranian people. And that's important to point. The Iranian people are the happiest and most grateful people to the Israeli government.
This is one of the things that is so, it's really sad to me, right? We actually have a bunch of friends here in Texas that are from Iran. And they came here fleeing, the oppression, and there are so many people. The Persian Empire has so much history and culture and beauty and like good things that could be cultivated and highlighted. And instead, it's all this crazy murder everybody stuff.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I just wrote a post, it's pretty extensive. I'm not going to read it to you, but comparing and contrasting Israel to Iran, because the Muslim world, as is clearly demonstrated in my social media comments, hundreds, maybe thousands of Islamists, and you want to call them Islamists, regular Muslims, commenting on my posts with pictures of Netanyahu hiding, which is of course obviously AI, pictures of just tanks under the Israeli hospital that was targeted, like just straight up lies, blatant lies, saying that Tel Aviv is flattened and that literally this is a real thing. I'm about to tell you something right now. This is a real thing. I'm not kidding. You're going to think I'm joking, but I'm not. There are actual sources, Iranian sources, that say, sit down for this, that the roads of Tehran are empty because everyone's going on vacation. True story.
What?
That's what they're saying. Yeah, it's a true. That the reason that the roads in Tehran are empty are not because people are scared, but because people are going on vacation. This is what they're telling their people. So these guys, they're lying nonstop, and millions of Muslims around the world believe that Iran is winning this war. So I wrote a post like, let's just speak the facts. Tehran is burning. Tel Aviv is flourishing. Iran is a miserable country to live in. Israel is one of the happiest places on earth. And so I wrote like a whole long post about it because the contrast could not be any clearer.
Yeah.
So Hillel, let me jump in. I want to change the topics to not the cluster bombs, I'm sorry, but the Fordo and the bunker buster bombs. And if the U.S. doesn't get involved, because there's a raging debate in this country, if the U.S. doesn't get involved, what options are there to take out Fordo? So
it depends who you ask. There are Israeli officials that have gone on record saying that we know what to do and that we can handle it ourselves. I'm not a military strategist. I don't know the details, but Israel has been known to do things that were otherwise, defined as impossible, and we did it. So I don't know, but it's clear to everyone that if America does get involved, the Iranian nuclear ambitions end, like on the spot. So, nobody knows what's going to happen. Knowing what I know of Donald Trump, he's a winner, and he doesn't want to side with losers. He wants to side with winners, and he sees who's winning here. So if I had to bet, I'd bet that he's going to jump in. In fact, he even went on record and said, we are winning, which is fine. He's Israel's, partner in this. He's helping us on the defense. No problem with him taking credit. But he wants to be part of the winning team, and we are the winning team here. So if I had to bet, I'd bet they're going to get involved, but I don't have any intel on that. Either way, this war is ending with the end of the nuclear program of the Iranian regime. There's no question about that. And as of this morning, I believe there was a new objective added to the objectives of this war, and that is to replace the regime, aka eliminate, assassinate the supreme leader of Iran, which would make millions of people around the world, maybe billions, very, very happy and very thankful to Israel.
Which brings up the next topic, which is regime change. What comes afterwards? Because there's certainly some consternation, if not concern, in this country. The U.S. doesn't have a really good track record, a la Iraq, in terms of and other, exporting democracy, if you will, around the world. What comes after? I know there's talk about the Pavlovi family. Excuse me, I get the pronunciation wrong. Pavlovi family coming back to Iran, but that's a monarchy, constitutional democracy. Who takes the lead? Who's the new leader? What happens afterwards? That's the real, I think, trepidation in this country.
You know what I'm going to answer you? I don't know. And you know what else I'm going to answer you? I don't care. You know why? Because we got to do what we got to do right now. Nobody asked that question in Nazi Germany. We had to denazify Germany. We had to defeat the Germans. We had to defeat the Nazis. Nobody asked who's going to replace them. Nobody asked, what about the innocent lives? Nobody asked any of these questions. So, of course, this needs to be dealt with the day after. But for now, we need to do what we need to do, and that is to defeat the evil Iranian regime. The discussion of the day after is an important one, but not now. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, and honestly, I don't care. By the way, the same thing for Gaza. What happens if who's going to replace Hamas? You can't kill an ideology. We've heard it all. I don't care. We need to do what's right, and what's right is defeating Hamas. Period. What happens next? We'll deal with that. No question, we'll deal with that. Not now.
Yeah, there is civility is a real thing, and you can. No, we can't change the human heart. Right? Human heart is what it is. We've got evil. It's a whole thing, right? But the idea that because some people are bad people, we should just like sit and be victimized, like people should just take it. That's crazy. And like you said, they would say that about no one else. Nobody else would say that was okay.
Yeah,
for
but you know
anybody
what?
else.
It's interesting that you say we can't change the human heart. But you know who can change the human heart? God.
God.
And you know what? There's precedence for this, right?
Mhm.
I mean, what happened in Egypt, right? You see ancient Egypt, the world's leading empire, and God brings destruction on the entire empire, and I'm like total destruction. And you would think Pharaoh, after the first plague, would say, "Get the heck out of here, you Jews! I don't want you here." Didn't happen. Not the second plague, not the third plague, not the fourth, not the fifth, not the sixth. 10th plague, he finally said. Why? Because the Torah says, the Bible says, God hardened his heart. God created a reality that Pharaoh just didn't see what was around him. He didn't realize that he better get them out of here because otherwise his entire empire will be destroyed. And that's what we're seeing today. I have no doubt. How do you explain Hamas not surrendering after Gaza turns into what it is? How do you explain the Iranian regime not surrendering? Well, first of all, it's because radical Islam does not know that word surrender. But more importantly, God is hardening their hearts because there is no other way to explain how these, insane genocidal maniacs are not waving a white flag and saying, just stop. You're destroying us. We have no future. Tehran is blacked out. There's no internet. There's no, people on the streets. Tehran was a beautiful city and it's destroyed. Yeah. You would think the leader would say enough, but no, God is hardening his heart. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. And like I said before, I have never felt in my 46 years on this planet that I am living in the Bible more than I felt this morning. I'm telling you, I woke up this morning and I opened the news as I do, and I started to see that it's a large amount of ballistic missiles heading into Israel. Not 5, not 10, not 15, over 20. And, we know that we have amazing aerial defense systems, but they're not foolproof. And we knew some of those were going to get through. And we knew what a ballistic missile on impact can do. We saw the results. So I was terrified. And then I saw the results of it hitting, and I saw that it hit Soroka Hospital, and I saw that it hit neighborhoods. And you could look at my Twitter this morning. I literally said to my followers on Twitter, if you don't pray, or if you do pray now. Now is the time, because this is not going to end well. 5 minutes later, I notified my Twitter followers that their prayers were answered, and we have no casualties. There is no way, but I mean no way, that you can explain the impact that we saw this morning with 0 casualties. It's not, you can go with your creative, go however crazy you want. There is no way that impact like that and destruction like that in 4 different places, 4 different cities in Israel did not cause thousands of casualties, or at least hundreds, or at least tens. 0. You have 2, unfortunately, very, very old, grandparents who did unfortunately die, but my understanding is they did not die from the impact. Whatever it was, heart attack, whatever it was. And I'm not, God forbid, please don't misunderstand that I'm diminishing, or those are families, and that's terrible. And there are hundreds of injured, over 700 injuries. Out of those 700, 99% of them are light injuries. We have I don't know what the final number is, but we've very, very small amount of severe injuries. That makes no sense. If you don't see God right now in an event like this, you don't want to see God. I mean, there are people that stood at the sea when the sea split and said, nah, it's the winds and, the 10 plagues. Oh, it's nature, and there were frogs, and they had all the explanations in the world because they didn't want to see the miracles. So, okay, if you want to see, you don't want to see God here, that's fine. But the only way you can't see God this morning is if you don't want to see him. There's no other way.
What's the reaction that you're seeing in other countries in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Egypt? Our press is reporting nothing on that. Jordan, we understand, is helping and defending against some of the incoming missiles, is my understanding. But we've heard, I won't say that there's a news blackout. I'd say it's a selective quiet in the U.S. media because, again, it's Israel. Therefore, we're not going to report on it. But what's going on in Saudi Arabia that what's going on in Egypt? Because we know nothing about that.
So first of all, let's just address that for 1 second. Yeah, isn't it mind-blowing that there's not a single, honest publication out there, mainstream media, that reports the actual facts? There's not a single one. It's wild. Now here's the thing. There is an element of just being evil and Jew hating. There's definitely an element of that. But there's also another element, and this is me giving them the benefit of the doubt, and that is that their businesses are crashing and burning. They have no traffic. No one's reading CNN anymore. So what do they need clicks. They need traffic. What gets traffic? Jew hatred. So they realize, okay, we're not going to report the truth. We got to report in a way that will create more Jew hatred, and then more people will read our stuff. That's the only explanation. They just lie nonstop.
No Jews, no news.
That's right. So,
Right.
to tell you, but what you're reading on in the media is false. Is the understatement of the century. None of it's true. None of it, and I mean none of it. I'm getting people are saying to me, "Oh, Iran downed Israeli jets." Lies. Oh, Iran. There are tanks under the Israeli hospital. Lies. It's just nonstop, blatant lies. So yeah, Jordan did help. I think intercept some of the missiles. But I don't really know where Saudi stands on this. They've been pretty quiet recently. I don't really know. The UAE generally is on our side, I think. Egypt is kind of playing both sides here. I don't know. Qatar is the biggest question mark. It's crazy times. I mean, like I said, this is biblical stuff. These are prophecies happening right before our eyes, and it's really I'm an optimistic guy. I'm a cup half full kind of guy, and so for me, the silver lining here is that the Bible's coming to life again. God's prophecy, God's presence, and God's clear message to us that we're his children, that he loves us, and he's got our backs is just happening and unfolding right before our eyes. It's insane. It's wild.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think it speaks to the heart of the Israeli people. You had posted a video, I wanted to put it up, about Israelis coming back to Israel during a time of war to support and fight for Israel. Ericka, if you have that video, it's the one of the El Al on the plane coming back. But I mean, I think it speaks to this moment in time in the heart of the Israeli people to want to come home.
Sorry, did you say go ahead and play it or no?
Yes, please.
Yeah, play.
Okay. Let me switch here. On.
that
I love it.
that
Israel,
warms
that's the Jewish
my
people.
heart. What I'm really curious, you're so tuned into everything that's going on. What has surprised you in all of this?
I just, on the one hand, I'm not surprised because I know what we're made of, and the Jewish people defy logic and nature, and we've always defied logic and nature. So it doesn't surprise me, but I would say that the level of resilience that we're showing, that we're displaying on a daily basis is, it's supernatural. There's no other way to explain it. I mean, you have a plane full of Israelis coming home in the middle of a regional existential war, and instead of being worried and concerned, they're dancing and singing about Am Yisrael Chai. This is wild stuff, and this is our story. This has always been our story. We see it, all the way back to the times of the Bible in ancient Egypt, and the Torah says it. The more they persecuted the Israelites, the more the Israelites flourished. That's right. Our story. That's always been our story. That continues to be our story. It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. And it's a source of absolute pride. I mean, someone said to me on Facebook, one of these, Islamists say, "Oh, you have no shame." And I said, damn straight, I have no shame. I'm full of pride. You kidding me? Shame? I'm so proud to be, I've never been prouder to be a Jew and to be a Zionist in my life than I felt in the past week. I mean, defeating Iran, a country 70 times larger than Israel, and we defeated them in 6 days? It's wild. It's unprecedented. It's unbelievable.
It's hard to believe it's only been 6 days.
I know, right?
And it really is David versus Goliath, of biblical proportions yet again.
That's right.
Absolutely. Hillel, I want to thank you. I know your time is precious. Thank you for making time to come on. And please keep the social media posts coming, because frankly, it's our only source of information. There's a couple other sources coming out of Israel, but the U.S. media is an absolute failure on this, and we get virtually no information.
I appreciate that. Looking forward to next time.
All right,
Thanks,
you guys.
Take care, guys.
Thank you, Hillel. Thank you for being with us. And for good measure, you guys, let's hear from our sponsor, Israel Appreciation Day, as we close the show for today. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, and thank you for being here. This is the first ever Israel Appreciation Day.
I believe in the words of Israel's first leader, David Ben-Gurion, who said, "One does not write history, one makes history."
The history of the Jewish people is one of rising and flourishing despite thousands of years of being attacked, exiled, and scapegoated.
And I'm honored to join all of you in celebrating the first annual Israel Appreciation Day. And there are many reasons to appreciate Israel. It's one of America's closest allies in the world. It's a safe haven for persecuted people, and it's a wellspring of innovation.
That the land of Israel was given to the Jewish people, not by the United Nations, but by God himself.
Well, no one wants to fight. I'd love not to have this weapon, to be in a bulletproof vest, to serve in the IDF.
We cannot allow the worst instincts in our society to win. We must stand proud, and we must stand tall.
Theodor Herzl believed the only solution was for the Jews of Europe to free themselves. And where else do the Jewish people belong than in their homeland in Judea?
This is the Jewish moment, when the Jewish people stands for life over death and shows the lost and confused West how to survive.
From the Chalutzim, the pioneers, the original and early inhabitants of the land, even before the official creation of the State of Israel in 1948.
In my mind, one does not have to be Jewish to support Israel in their battle against the evil that is Hamas. One only has to be human.
Our Jewish community is stronger than ever.
And Israel's two things. It's not just a place, it's also a people.
We're only a generation away from the Holocaust. And understanding, yes, it could happen again. My daughter came home and said, is there going to be another Holocaust?
I couldn't live with myself if I didn't stand with Israel and the Jewish people at this moment in time when they most need us.
A free press during the Israel-Hamas conflict has provided real-time updates on terror attacks. And if we don't learn from those conflicts and wars, we're doomed to repeat the same mistake.
And it takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength to come out and be a voice of one sometimes. What did you do professionally prior to October 7th?
It is your duty as a Jew to shine the light. Go on to social media.
Why would you flourish under persecution? And the answer is that's our nature. That's always been our nature. When our enemies terrorize us and they come after us, what you see is a direct correlation to innovation.
The nation of Israel lives.